Live. We're live.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jennifer. What's going on, my sister?
I don't know. It's a beautiful day and the weather's beautiful. And always when I see sunshine, it makes my day start really well.
Yeah, it's a little cloudy. Yesterday we had some weird like showers that came in and they went, and I like the rain. Like for me, that's awesome. But we'll see what today ends up being.
Okay.
So
How's
we
your
have
week been? How's your week been? Like you've kind of been working on some stuff.
the week has been good. I had my call with Perrin yesterday, Alt CMO. They're helping me with my marketing. Got to hang out with my peeps here in
I
San
know,
Antonio,
whatever.
Brian and Kirby.
I'm like so mad. I'm like, how do I find out about this stuff on LinkedIn? I'm like, ah.
Yeah, so it's been a good week. I've gotten some stuff done, and I've been having some fun. Been looking forward to this conversation,
Yes.
part 2,
Yes.
right? That was informed by the tribe during
Yes.
the last live stream. People said
Yes.
we need to have a part 2 about this. So, and here's some of those people.
Woohoo,
Miss
good morning, Laura.
Hey, like this feels like this
Look,
the
you're
second
killing
time
it.
I've seen y'all on the screen together. What's that about?
No, I know because Laura and I launched our new kind of community platform last weekend, and I get to hang out with her next week. And then we've kind of just been brainstorming on what's next, and we'll have another one next month, I believe on the 10th. And so, yes, be on the lookout for that. But our mindset revolution, we are just getting some stuff kicked off and looking forward to some very, very interesting, vulnerable, real conversations. So
Yeah, no, I got to sit in the background, and it was awesome watching y'all like go to town and engage with the community, start building that community.
yes.
So, folks out there, Mindset Revolution, Jennifer, Laura, connect with them because they're doing awesome stuff, super awesome stuff. And we got Miss Amy Campbell. She's
Good morning.
Oh, look, she came in like not LinkedIn.
Oh, she did it. You're right.
All right. Hi,
Yeah,
Amy.
she does. Also, this is interesting. And again, good morning, Rachel. One, hope you had some good time off because you very much needed it. But two, she's an Android user. So I'm interested to know if she's on her computer or on her phone.
Oh yeah, Rachel, let us know. I hope you're on your computer, because if not, then you kill my theory. And then we have to do more problem solving. But to your point, Jen, folks, if you're out there watching us on the live stream and you're commenting and it may not be coming through the StreamYard feed. It's not that we don't love you. We absolutely love you and appreciate you. It just doesn't make it through. The assumption right now is linked Android users. If you're on your Android phone interacting and making comments, they don't come through. I don't know what it is. I just know that the most important thing to know is that we love you. Yes. We love the comments. And if we miss them during the live stream, we're going to come back and give you some affection. And also,
got more people.
Well, yeah, like what happens when we got new people, Jennifer?
Okay,
Lacey?
So one, we'll get to you in a minute if you're over there, because we want to make sure we acknowledge everybody that's coming in this morning. But if you are, I guess it doesn't even have to be your first time listening to us or seeing us, because sometimes we kind of pop up on screen sometimes. But if you are on today and you maybe haven't engaged with us very much, like you don't type very much, but we want to make sure we know who you are. So if this is your first time on, or if it's your first time really starting to engage and letting us know you're there, if you will put a blue heart in the comments, and if you don't know how to do that, you just right click and go to emojis and find the blue heart, or just type blue heart. We don't care. Then that gives us a signal. It lets us know when you're there, and so we can acknowledge you and bring you up on the screen and say hi. But it also informs our tribe that you are new and that we need to embrace you and we need to celebrate you and we need to go and connect with you. And so that will happen once you put that blue heart in there. And then also throughout the next hour, there's also kind of conversations happening in the chat while we're talking. And so that also gets you connected with them, and y'all can start having some conversations as well.
Yes, 100%. Oh man, we got all kinds of people.
Tell me, what do we got?
Amy confirmed she's on her computer.
Okay.
So there we go, reinforcing my theory. I love
Okay,
it.
okay.
Oh, we got Mr. Buddy
Good
coming in.
morning. Yes. Good morning. I got to have lunch with Buddy this week.
Wah, wah, wah. That's awesome. Super awesome. Steve Martin, our chief marketeer, coming in from
Yes.
Connecticut. Oh my goodness. And then we got a
Good.
cameo, Miss
Yeah.
Heather. What's up, Heather? How you
This
been, girl?
topic got some people going, I think. I think this talk's going to be really good today. Good morning, Heather.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get some of them really thought-provoking questions and
Yes.
comments.
Yes.
Mr. Andrew, how you doing, Andrew? Coming in.
Good morning.
And then we got this guy. You know this guy?
Oh my gosh, Dwan, we haven't seen Dwan in a while, but we've kind of watched a lot of the stuff he's doing in the background. So thank you, Dwan, for joining us this morning.
What's up, Dwan? Mr. Jim Gontorius, and I'm going to spill the beans just a little bit, but Jim and Ben have been gracious in allowing me to be a presenter at their next Breakthrough Builders event in the DFW. Yeah, girl.
Look at you. That's awesome.
I'm coming. Oh, and Miss Elizabeth Ponce, did you know that she's like a celebrity?
No.
She was just interviewed. We got to hang out with her on the Cultivation Crew session.
Yes,
right? She was there with us.
Yes.
And she just got interviewed by Telemundo and she got awarded for like this big thing. So she's a nominee for a big award. So folks, Blue Heart, go follow her, connect with her.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she's like a serious baller out there in the construction industry. And speaking of Cultivation Crew.
Okay.
We just had our second session, yeah?
We did.
And Josh Lubker was there because he won the last randomizer raffle thing. And it seemed to be a popular element of our live stream last time, Jen. So we're going to do it again.
Yes.
So can
we really quick a context on Cultivation Crew, just super fast on
what is it?
It is, well, what it is we have a community, and we were informed by them that, hey, we're doing some really cool things, but we need some more skill development on some of these leadership things we talk about. And so Jesse and I created the Cultivation Crew, and it really focuses on 4 big areas. 1 is facilitation, 2 is storytelling, 3 is giving and receiving feedback, and 4th is self-reflection. And so it's not just like, hey, we're going to talk about these things. Like, it is learning, it is interaction, it is actually doing the dang thing and then getting it's a cycle. So it kind of goes over the course of a year. And so we have people coming in at different times, kind of learning what it is, but also becoming part of this bigger group. Okay, now you can go.
Yeah. No, I love it. Well done, Miss Jennifer. And so the next session that we have coming up, which is on the second Friday of the month at 2 p.m. Central, we're going to be closing the loop on facilitation for connection.
Yep.
And it's going to be real. So the crew members, they have a field assignment. They're going to complete it. I know they are. And we're going to get live, real feedback from the group on the execution and application of the things that we introduced in the first 2 sessions. Blah, blah, blah. Bottom line is this, y'all. Drop the word feedback in the comments as we go through today, and your name will be put in the raffle. And at the end of today's session, we're going to do the randomizer raffle thing. And whoever gets selected, you'll get a free invitation, free access to participate in that closing session before we kick off storytelling. So feedback is the word. Find an excuse or a reason to dump it in your comment, or just do feedback, and you'll get put into the raffle. And I hope to hang out with y'all soon. Okay. So
we have more people. I think we have Sarah just joined us.
Sarah.
Yeah, this is a good conversation for her too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's ready. I know she is. And then we got a little extra love from Heather.
Yes.
She says she misses us. Okay. So are we just going to be blabbing, or do we have a point today?
We do. Like, okay, so let's start. Okay, maybe you can give a little context of what our goal was last time. Like, we got a topic, which usually is informed by our after party. And then we have some deeper conversations based on the live stream. And then we go, ooh, we need to talk about that next time. And so 2 weeks ago, it was how to bring your vision to life. And how did that go, Jesse?
Yeah. So it turned out, I mean, it was way more intense than I expected. Kind of, right? Like, I'm kind of lying. I how should I say, I wanted it to be intense and I wanted it to be thought provoking. But the outcome exceeded my expectations because we got into like some big buckets, heavy buckets.
Mhm.
And during the live stream, multiple people, I think Yesenia was one for sure, that was like, we need to have a part 2 of this
Yes.
conversation. And then in the after party, of course, we got deep because we always do. And again, it was like, we need to have a part 2 to this conversation. And so some of the things that we talked about were really about, okay, like in terms of bringing your vision to life, like how many times do we suppress our interests, curiosities, etc., because of we feel indebted to something, some entity, somebody else, or what kind of situations are we in that don't necessarily create the conditions for us to expand and explore those curiosities and interests. And so that then was like, okay, the tribe has spoken. We got to do a part 2, and here we are.
Yes.
That's
and
it.
that's and then now, based on the conversations we had 2 weeks ago and the after party, and we're not even going to skate over this. Jesse wrote a blog this week that was fire. That if you have not checked out his blog, and again, you can probably search through his posts and things like that and find it, but he wrote a blog this past week, and it was about the culture, kind of that culture of owing. And like what he said, like how do we owe companies or we owe people for the successes we have. And I'm going to tell you, if you haven't checked it out, like you need to go check it out because it is amazing. And I told him, I was like, it's probably the best thing he's ever written. And I wrote a book with him, so let's go with that. But it was really, really good. And I think it will resonate with a lot of people. And that also conversation stemmed to what some of the things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, it's interesting. You said it, this phrase twice. You said it on our pre-call and, well, 6 times, right? Because we always have the pre-agenda call, then we have the agenda call, then we have the vetting call, then we have the editing grammar check call. I'm joking.
5 minutes before we started today, is that
5
what you're
minutes
saying?
before we start, yeah. You're talking about like the idea, the words that you're saying is the culture of loyalty. Mm-hmm. Which like that was never a question in my head. Like that, those words are kind of curious to me. Like, okay, there's something there. But when I was writing that blog entry, yes, it was informed by the experience of the last live stream that we had. But I was thinking, like, the question I had in my head is, how has loyalty gotten in my way?
Yes.
That was the question. And so that ended up turning into whatever the blog ended up being. And I did get some good interaction, and thank you for the shout out. So where should we start, Jennifer? Maybe with this.
I think that's a great way to start. And I think we're going to ask you, those of you that are out there, and again, we're going to dig into this today, and Jesse and I are going to give some examples, but is your loyalty, and we're not even going to limit it to a person, a company, it doesn't matter. Like, is your loyalty to something or someone holding you back and keeping you from taking a step forward or taking a step outside of your comfort zone?
Can you give an example?
No. Yes. Okay. Yes. And so an easy one, and you'll probably make it less easy, but an easy one is, I work for a company, and I've worked for the same company for over 20 years. And so there have been a lot of things that I've been able to achieve, and that support I've gotten from them that have allowed me to grow and continue to do things. And some of it is the things that, you and I get to cross paths and do together. And for the longest time, and I'm not saying that like I do not appreciate everything that I've been given and that the opportunities they've given me, but for the longest time, there was like a debt I needed to pay, or there was something that because of what they've given me, then I needed to make sure that I was paying them back. And that a lot of our minds are like that. And it's not because they like say, you owe me, you owe me, you owe me. It's this thing because they've given us something. They've given us an opportunity. And then to go even further, there are people within my firm, specific people that have helped me grow, that have put time and effort into things that have helped me become, grow into different positions and things like that, then that's another layer of like the loyalty or what the debt I have to those people that gave me that, or that gave me their time. Yet I was a part of all those things. And for the longest time, like that part of it was like disconnected in my head. Like I kept going, what they gave me, the opportunities, all these things. And I kept forgetting that like I still had to do something. I still had to make an effort or make an intention or work or put extra effort in or work at night or work. Like I had to do things to be able to make those things come to fruition. And
Yes.
we forget sometimes, we disconnect ourselves from some of those things that the opportunities we get.
Oh, so first I want to ask the tribe out there, like Jen was like dancing on the razor's edge there, right? Like I think you described the conditions very, very well,
Yes.
such that people can connect to that. So the question to the tribe out there is like, have you been in a similar situation where it's like, okay, all these opportunities and investments from other people or entities, you experience that, and then you feel like, well, they did this for me, but totally forget about what you brought to the table. Like
Yes.
we discount what we bring to the table. And so Miss Amy answers a question, and she says, yes, historically, my loyalty and dedication has been detrimental to my growth. Thank you, sister, for saying it so clearly. I've had to learn about balancing the loyalty to X and taking care of preserving myself. Hard lessons to learn, while I also think are valuable to how I mentor others and my own future. What do you think about that, Jen?
I think it's solid. And one, we get to interact with Amy a little more than most people. And so, Amy, like that in itself, you not only like recognizing that, but saying it out loud and like really getting to a place to where, like you can disconnect yourself from the things that have helped you. Like I'm in the middle of that right now. So I'm so super proud of you.
Yeah. So, before I continue building on that, I want to just point out that Miss Laura says, oh, she gave us credit and dropped the word feedback into the comments so that she's going to be in the raffle. Thank you. Oh, look, we got a
good morning, Jamie.
Love it. What's up, sister?
Jamie's been in, and just going to give a shout out super quick to Jamie. Jamie's been in rooms that I've not been in. And then all of a sudden I get people reaching out, or Jamie introduces me to people that are like, y'all need to connect, or, hey, Jamie told me I needed to connect with you. So she is like completely connecting and building all these bridges in places that like I can't even make it. So thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie's awesome. How about you say my name too? No, I'm joking. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. So now let's make a hard tie for people.
Yep.
The idea is, how do you bring your vision to life? Part 2, right? That's the theme of the conversation. We're talking about loyalty and how loyalty gets in our way. And then Amy says, loyalty and dedication has been detrimental to my growth. And so the connection for me is there has been, when I started my podcast, like clear example, when I started the Learnings and Missteps podcast, I had a full-time job, like a real job. And I was ultra vigilant about not letting people know within my company, the company I was working for, that I had a podcast. Because, and this is a little stick with me, because I was concerned that they would perceive that as violating some agreement or us being disloyal to them by doing this thing.
Yes.
And so I was walking on eggshells, really, really concerned about how somebody would perceive that because of my perceived or perception of what they expected in terms of loyalty. Right? Because now it's like, you're doing this thing, but why are you doing that? Like, and so I'm going to take it another, make it a little more fun. Similar to, we've had several people, several tribe members who start getting very active on LinkedIn, and their supervisors or the supervisors, managers in their organization start getting squirrely, right? Like, ooh,
what's going on? What are you doing? No. Yes.
And so my point is this. There's this weird thing that managers, supervisors expect, and this is in that blog. They expect a degree measure of loyalty because, back to your story, they've created they've helped you get a promotion. They give you a raise and whatever. The fact is, they didn't pay for that shit. That did not come out of their pocket. That came out of the business's pocket, right? The business is paying for that. But because they were the conduit, right? They were the connection. Some of them, I'll say the weak ones, expect you to stay loyal to them for what they did for you. Mm-hmm. And the fact of the matter is they would have done the same damn thing for anybody else in the role.
Yes.
To your point, you did something critically important. You contributed to that growth and that the selection process, et cetera, et cetera. And so in terms of loyalty getting in the way, how many times do you have an idea? Do you have a curiosity, an interest, an urge to try and do something new, something as simple as starting to become more visible on social media? And then you press on the brakes because you don't want to be perceived as disloyal. How's that land with you, Jen?
I mean, it lands. And I think the word disloyal, I think that's what we get caught up on, this is going to make me go against something. Mm-hmm. And for me, for the longest time, like, it's so weird. It's almost like some part of me went, ooh, this is going to break that one clause that I signed on with 20 years ago that says that I'm going to not go and do things that compete against my company. I mean, something that doesn't even exist. Let's just be clear. There's nothing that I've said, there's not a social media like something that I am breaking. So it's some part of me that was making, is this disloyal because I'm not devoting every second and every minute and every moment and every thought and every idea to this company, to this person. And for the longest time, it was a struggle on, well, could I be doing this here instead of here? That the effort and the energy it took for me to talk myself out of something, or as Jesse put the brakes on something. To go, I'm not sure I'm there yet, because part of it's visibility, and it's a little bit scary when you're not there, when you're not out there doing things already, and then all of a sudden you're going across people's feeds, things are popping up. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't know this already, if your company, has a marketing communications department, there are things that get flagged and that automatically pop up when you go online or when you do things, because you're tied to the company. And it's not good or not bad. It's just, it is what it is. And because of that fear, sometimes it's like, oh, I don't want people to know what I'm doing. And so my question to you is why? Because if it's something that you're passionate about or something that is good, then what's making you hesitate? And I had a really good friend of mine who does communications said something to me one time, and it changed the way that I show up online. And she said, yes, you work for this company, but you also have your own brand and identity that is yours and you own it. And that changed something in my brain, because yes, I go to work and yes, I come home, but my company doesn't own what I do at home. My company doesn't get to tell me what I do on the weekends or where I go to dinner at night. So why can I not make that disconnection when it comes to things that I want to go do that I'm passionate about? That. Anyway, it was a huge light bulb moment for me.
Oh man. So I'm gonna need you to rein me back in, but first I want to add Jim's comment. Jim says, marketing, the only department I upset more than HR. Jim, I feel that to my bones because I've had those discussions. Like, you can't say that. What are you saying? We need to, like, man, whatever. But yes, so I concur. And Heather answers your question, and I'm gonna go. I got to go on this.
Okay,
So
do it,
Heather
do it, do
says
it.
it's easy to lose yourself and your goals in the race for the company's goals. First, you got to know yourself and your goals. If your goals and journey are not aligned with the company's, it's easy to put yourself on the back burner. Gangsta, right? Now, thank you, Heather. Folks, what do y'all think about that one? Woo-hoo-hoo. So here's, talking about this marketing thing and being, I want to be very clear, talking about building your brand on social media, or I'm not even going to use the word brand because then that gets all wonky in people's heads. We overcomplicate it. Increasing your visibility on social media. Okay. Going back to the example I gave about the manager or boss that gives you a promotion and puts your name in the hat for a raise and right? And they want you to give them discretionary performance because of what they did. And for real, they would have been like, that's their job to do that for their people. Like, they're not doing an altruistic thing.
Right.
Now, when they invest in you and coach you and support you and challenge you as a human being, that's a different question. And we'll come back to that later. But specifically, for who when again, working a regular job, not regular, a real job, who is least incentivized to advocate for me? My boss, right? Because if my boss goes out and advocates and sees my potential, like really gives me or sets up the conditions for an opportunity that's going to bring massive growth, they lose me, right? And the problem that I'm solving and the value that I'm bringing, they don't have access to it anymore because I'm going to go to another department. I'm going to, whatever it is. And so there's this human, like, natural dynamic that happens where the supervisor, consciously or unconsciously, is not incentivized to really, really help their direct report grow.
Right.
Okay. So that's not like a myth. That's a reality.
Right. Yeah.
And so if I'm counting on that person to be my advocate, that's weak sauce. I am going to be suppressing. I will never be able to work on my vision or bring my vision into the world. Because like Heather said, there's a misalignment there, a natural misalignment. And so then what happens? Social media. If I just post on social media about what I think about how I think about things, about what I care about, what I don't care about, I'm now becoming my best advocate. And that scares the hell out of bosses. And I'll leave it at that. And so what do you think, Jen? What do you
Yes, because they're in protection mode, which is, if you have people and you have direct reports, the default is, this person is doing their job and I don't want to lose them, because in this industry, like, then you have to go retrain somebody, then you have to go. So you're in this protection mode. And it's almost like, in my mind, like the helicopter parents, like, we're in this protection mode because we want to protect our kids. But by doing that, we are hurting them, because then they are not prepared and ready to go do something. It's the same mentality in my mind as when we are so trying to keep them in this bubble and trying to keep them from, whether it's growing or even seeing the opportunities outside of this. There's going to be a point to where one glimpse or glimmer of something is going to pull them out, because it's so different than what they've been allowed to experience. Where if you don't manage like that, and then you also, and one thing you didn't say, and I'm going to say was also a game changer for me, was in some of these experiences with me, I either had to own it and have the conversations, or I had to hide it. Like, those are the two things. Like, you either do it over here on the down low, and then you just hope nobody finds out, or you just hope nobody's looking at the stuff that you're doing, or you own it and you have those conversations, and then really quick where these people are. And some of it's going to be, we don't know, we're not sure, we don't have a policy on that. You may get those kind of responses. Some of them may be more positive. Some of them may be where we're not, this is not really what we want you to be doing. Then that becomes another harder, uncomfortable conversation that you need to lean into. What about that?
Yes. Oh my God. So I want to give some props to the tribe that's making comments.
Talk about feedback too, real quick.
What's that?
Talk about the word feedback too. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but remind everybody, because we have some new people, that the word feedback. Yes.
Yeah. So folks, y'all are out there in the live. Drop the word feedback, work it into your response, question, thought in the chat, because we're gonna do the randomizer raffle at the end, and you're gonna, if you're using the word feedback in your comment, is gonna get you into the raffle so that you could get a free seat at the next Cultivation Crew session. And I know there's a bunch of active members. If you're an active member and you win, then you just invite a friend, right? So thank you for the reminder, Jen. The word feedback is the key. So Jamie says, as I was describing that situation with the boss that's not going to advocate for you, or maybe not advocate you as fervently as they could, Jamie says you need a new boss. Agreed. And I'm also going to say that that's the majority of the bosses out there, right? They're not equipped to do that. She makes a great point in saying you are renting your position. You leave it better than you found it. Yes. Like, I believe and agree with that. And I've also been working for over 30 years and know that the percentage of people that understand that and practice that is this big.
Yes.
Right? Now, Heather says, Jesse, you hit the nail on the head.
Of course.
Right? Thank you, Heather. She's got phenomenal
those comments, crazy all the time.
Phenomenal taste, phenomenal discernment in terms of wisdom. So thank you, Heather. And then Sarah says, agreed, Jesse and Jen, when a boss doesn't understand your passions and embrace that, even if that means you might leave, instead, I leverage that. I have seen the opposite of what most do is more impactful. Beautiful. And then Dr. G, what's going on, Dr. G? Is agreed, spot on. So you touched on something, Jen, around, I'm just going to say getting clear.
Okay.
Right. Like for me, like that, and no, I'm not a Scientologist, but when I think of, I have a lot of conversations about how direct and maybe abrasive I am sometimes in my thinking or in my words or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And it's on purpose. Like, I know that maybe I lose something, but that's okay because I gain more, and the gain that I get is what I want. And here's what it is when I am very clear about where I stand on something or what I think about something, I don't do it to impose my thinking on other people. Mm-hmm. I do it so that they understand where I'm at, and their response or behavior with my position signals to me what the best decision for me going forward is.
Yes.
And that sounds really smart. Heather agrees. I hit the nail. Look. Man, Heather, cute. Yes.
She didn't say it again.
And so I'm going to say it even simpler. When I decide to do something, I'm either going to do the hell out of it or I ain't, right? Like, do the damn thing. Freaking do the thing. And you can choose to like fire me, disassociate with me, stop hanging out, whatever, or not. But your response is going to tell me exactly where you stand. And then I get to make better, more informed decisions. And so when I started getting very, like with the going back to the podcast example, when I started doing that, eventually I found out, like, I thought I had a secret. Everybody knew it wasn't a big deal. Yes. Like, oh, Mike Kyman was one. Like, Jess, like, your podcast is awesome. Why haven't you told any about it? You should email blast everybody here. I'm like, what? Like, oh my God, He's like, yeah. It's like, what's your problem? Because it was in my head. So, kind of back to the original question is like, is your loyalty holding you back? In my head, yes, it wasn't a big thing. Now, I also know that there's situations where it is a big thing. But maybe the main point is this, Jen, or maybe thought for the tribe out there is how clear is your messaging and signaling, and do you make that happen so that you can make better decisions going forward? Is that too convoluted?
No, it's good. And I think in my mind, when you said clear, creating clarity, when you go in, and we've experienced this with people in our space sometimes, is when you go in to have a conversation, okay, is it water skiing? So let's be clear. Are you like right on the surface? Like, we're not going to deep dive. We're not going to make this really be uncomfortable or get vulnerable. We're going to be right on the surface, making sure we're kind of touching the things we need to. There's that piece. Or are you talking about in and out and all over the place and up in the sky, and you're muddying the water so much that you're still not being clear on what it is that you really need to talk about? So I think there's a couple of ways to do that. And for me, the takeaway from conversations is, did this conversation inform me
Yep.
to be able to make a decision? And if it didn't, then we're going to go back to some other skills that we help people learn is, are you asking the right questions?
Oh my. Okay. So I'm going to go there.
Go.
You better be ready, Jen, because I'm coming after you. But before I go there, there's some comments that I want to build on. So Jim, he says, for breakthrough builders, again, folks, if you're in the DFW area, or we'll just say Texas, right, or United States, you need to go check them out. The next one's coming up in September 5th. Amazing experience. I've been to one. I'm going to the next one. But Jim says, for breakthrough builders, I went and met with senior leadership and discussed my intentions. Fortunately, they supported the idea. Something tells me the word fortunately doesn't mean he was asking for permission.
That was where I went. I'm like, it wouldn't have happened either way, Jim.
Right, it would have happened. And I think that for me, that reinforces, or I'm going to leverage his comment to say, like, in terms of bringing your vision to life, because Jim and Ben are doing that. And it's beautiful. It started with the post, and it's grown into this big thing, and it's a movement, it's a community. And you have to be prepared to make the hard decision, right? Whatever that could have been. Like now, as I was building my business and got very clear about where I was headed, I was negotiating a job, an offer, like a real job, not the work I do now. And one of the things was like, look, I do coaching, I have a podcast, I have a live stream, and I'm very visible on social media. And that's the way if that is a problem here, I don't need to work here.
Yes.
And so the clarity, right? Now, Jen, I'm still coming after you.
I know you are. I'm ready.
I just want to highlight some ballers, right? Like, first, Sarah says, is Heather's comment feedback or ego stroking? But notice what she did. She worked the word feedback into her comment. So that's going to get her in the randomizer.
Yeah.
And then Amy also says, to second Laura, feedback from Jen and Jess has given her feedback over the years that has helped her change perspectives and continue growth. She'll never again watch Top Chef and not remember lessons I learned from them around accepting feedback. Amy, thank you. So Amy is in the raffle, folks. That was kind of a little fun way to say, put feedback in so you can be in the raffle. Anyways, coming after you, Jen.
Okay.
Yesterday, I shared an observation with you and some feedback.
Yes, you did.
How fluffy was it?
It was not. When I'm just going to give everybody a heads up that if you engage with Jesse and he starts the conversation with, this may sting a little, whatever comes after it is probably going to be something you really need to hear, and you get to make the choice on what you say next. So one, it did sting a little because you held the mirror up and you were very much, what was they calling me out? You were just like, here's what I see. And it was, I'm not even saying it was hard to take, because when you said it, I absolutely know it was the truth. And then I needed to, once you said it, and I had to like go, well, that sucks. And okay, so then Jesse knows. Then my first response is, okay, Jesse, what do I do? Or how do I like? Okay, but then I suck and all this stuff. And then again, his follow ups were not, no, 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 no. You're just because of what you're doing. This is very clear. And so Jesse, again, I'm going to put it back to you in a minute, but I want to like that part of it was a positive for you, even though it was hard. It's some things that I'm going to need to change in the way I show up and the way that I engage with people. And even the way that that I celebrate me and I focus on me and I do what is right and feels good for Jennifer. That is not sometimes the way I lead. And so I sugarcoat it and I put stuff around me and celebrate other people because it protects me and it keeps me in a safe space. Yet that is not what I talk about. And so it was very conflicting, which hurt a little bit because I talk about a lot of really big things, celebrating people and take big jumps and big leaps and all these things. And then, and I sometimes need someone to hold that mirror up to me. And so it was a growth opportunity. And also I left the phone call with some very clear next steps. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that, Jen. And look at that. Sarah says, oh, this may stick a little. And so the reason I want to go there is again, back to it, this loyalty and bringing your vision to life.
Yes. And I didn't get defensive either, Jesse. I want to thank you for that. So I did not, you've helped me learn that defensiveness doesn't usually help me grow. So thank you very much.
Yeah. No, totally. Oh my God, we got some people on here that we got Miss Gloria coming in.
Oh, good morning.
And then we got Miss Nick coming in from Long Island. So awesome. All right, let me go back to where I was in the conversation. Yeah. So in terms of, I'm going to ask this question to the tribe. What are the little steps you haven't taken in terms of bringing your vision to life?
Yes.
Okay. So I want y'all to think about that, and I'm going to do my best to like minimize the amount of muddiness I'm bringing to this conversation. But the vision that I'm working towards, right? Like what brings me the most fulfillment, the most joy, besides my mirrors or any reflective surface, is introducing people to the promise they're intended to be, right? That's what I love to do, is help people connect with the greatness that I think they have, or I think they're working towards, or whatever. So that's my vision. Sometimes that's a lot of fun and very comfortable and very easy. Sometimes it's freaking terrifying. That conversation we had yesterday was terrifying because what I had, like what came, could have severed the relationship.
Okay,
it could have offended you.
Yeah, I could have. I'll go there. Yes, it could have.
Right. It could have been a negative, a really nasty outcome.
Which we shouldn't do the day before a live stream, but let's just go for
it. Yeah, that's true. But so my loyalty to you could have forced me to suppress me working towards my vision.
Yes.
And so here's like kind of the twisty part is, or maybe my loyalty to the value comfort that I get out of our relationship could have, suppressed it. But instead I said, I'm more loyal to you. I'm going to say this. You may hate my guts for a little bit, but it's worth the risk because it contributes to my thing. And not only to my thing, but also contributes to you. And so there's a lot of these little steps that present themselves along the way in terms of bringing our vision to life. So not all of them are as terrifying as the one as I took yesterday, or I shouldn't say terrifying, maybe as high risk. Sometimes it's just a little step to do the damn thing. You asking the question of like, well, what should I do? And then chewing on it, that's a little profound step. And so how, like, is that clear, Jen? And what do you think?
Well, yes, it's clear to me because I was part of the conversation. It may be a little more muddy for those that are out there. So let's just do this. So Jesse told me, and all of you that live in the space that I'm in very much know how I show up and how I engage and what I do and what is important to me. And Jesse told me my priority order is Jennifer, work, and then family. That like hit me in my heart because that is not the way that in my mind I show up. So then my question to you, Jesse, was, well, then I'm a hypocrite. And that fostered more conversation into what does that look like? And showing up to me sometimes is just protecting me. And so, and me being the priority versus these other things. But when I have family third, like that's what Jesse sees. And Jesse and I have more contact time than probably any other person in my world. So for him to be able to say that, I know that it's real and it's true because he talks to me a lot. And so for someone in my space that is out there trying to advocate for people and that want people to, see and embrace and respect those around them. And that's the way that, right now, some of the things I'm doing that I'm failing me. Number one, if that's the way I'm showing up, and like, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good at all, but it also could have been, well, screw you, Jesse, because I'm doing this, and this. Like that is literally normal response because we are like, but what about all these other things I'm doing? And that's normal, but that is not what's going to help us grow and evolve. And so after like letting that sit for a second and then going, okay, Jesse, like, and I ask him, I'm like, so then I'm a hypocrite. He goes, no. We had some really good conversation after that. But then it was, okay, Jesse, what are some things I can do to help just start turning some of these things that I'm doing into, into positive things and to help with some of the way that I'm showing up, and then left there with some really big things to think about. So yes, I think is the answer to what you asked me.
I appreciate you putting that out there, right? Because that would maybe warn some people, like, you want feedback from me, you're gonna get it. It's like, and another thing, maybe I need to work on this, but I've been like tagged on several posts where people say, give me your feedback, I wonder what so and so, and they put a list of people. I'm gonna share like, if you ask for it, I'm gonna share it.
Yep.
And then based on their response, I'm like, oh, you didn't really want feedback. Yeah. You wanted impressions because it seemed like it offended them. Anyways, that's a side subject. Robert says, wounds from a friend can be trusted. 100%. Mr. Robert, how you doing, my brother? Dr. G, she's in the raffle. Dr. G says, love the feedback. Lead in with, this may sting a little. To create space to either share perspective of input, feedback is truly essential for growth. Hold the mirror up. Yes. Now, to the question, Doc, of what are the little steps, right, that you haven't taken? And one little step that I think, Jen, like the conversation that Jen and I have been having, is picking somebody that is going to give you fierce, actionable feedback. Right? That's a little step. Write a list. Think of the people. Get practice on receiving it. That's a little step. Right? Think like those are little steps. These things all contribute to bringing your vision to life. Yes. Now, who was it last? I think Nate made a comment on the last live stream that, some people get confused with what that, like, we complicate it. If you don't know what your freaking vision is, that's okay. Start thinking about it. That's a little step. What are the little steps you haven't taken? Now, Heather says, making it a priority. Anybody else struggle with that? And then in terms of your, like, the conversation you and I had, Jen, like I have my perception of what my priorities are, the story I tell myself. That doesn't mean that's what it looks like to everybody else. And so in our conversation, I was like, well, this is what I see as your priorities. Like, whoa! Wasn't expecting that. Heather also says, in terms of what gets in the way, is all the work that piles up does not leave room or time to focus on you or your priorities.
Yes, and
Come on.
I still get to make that choice. And so Jesse and his priorities and you, work, family, like I have to own that that is the way it is because that is the environment that I've created. And so like I can go, it's all the work, or it's all the things that I need because of my role and because of my responsibilities, or it's because I have to go make this trip, or I have to go do these things and I don't have time. Absolutely. And I also make choices that put me on an airplane, that put me in a meeting, that make me have to say, I can't go here and do these things because of this. And so, again, some people are in different roles. And so they're not in a place where they can just say no. But are you creating the environment and the conditions to where those things are piling up and you are not in a space to where you can prioritize? And again, over the last 2 to 3 years, that has shifted. That doesn't mean it's right where it needs to be, obviously, based on my conversation with Jesse yesterday. But the things that I'm choosing to do and the time and the space that I'm choosing to like reserve or protect is bigger than it was. And I mean, and again, Rachel, if Rachel's listening, because she again helps manage my life, she knows like it is protecting days, protecting times, protecting travel, whatever those are, like protecting that time on my calendar, like that never was a concept for me. And now I can block out weeks and go, I can't travel this week, or I'm not allowed to, I'm not going to allow myself to get pulled out of this. To me, that's a step. Those are little steps, but for me, that's big steps to where they can, those are the steps that are helping me make better decisions so that I can't then just blame the work.
Yeah. So I want to add, thank you. Cause yes, I concur, agree 100%. Oh, here we go. Sarah says, yes, I find I also wasn't allowing others to fail so they could clearly see the issue.
That part.
Right. All right. And so, yes, like people have to fail. I think a couple things ran through my head while you were responding, Jen, is there was a period in time, and I've heard it from like my family, elders, other people. It's like, well, I'm doing this for you, right? Why do you have to work so like they want more time with me or with you, but I say I can't give you more time because I'm working for you. Like
I'm working so I can buy you all these things. I'm working so we can go on vacation. I'm working because this is what pays our bills. Oh no, I know those phrases very well.
Right. And so here's the thing, like you're telling yourself this story. Your family that you're claiming to work for is not asking for those things. What they're asking for is your time.
I know.
Right. And I'm saying that to you, but also to the tribe out there. Like for me, I had to get in terms of little steps. And this is the one step I want. That's the hard one, but it's the most valuable one. Is find a way to spend more time with yourself. Right? For some people, I mean, Rachel, we had that conversation. She started doing all kinds of great stuff. And it might sound like it's terrifying for a lot of people. Actually, folks out there, if it's a scary idea to find time just for you, leave a thumbs up in the comments, because I know when my therapist first told me to do that, I'm like, what? Like, I ain't got time for that crap. So that I could, and here's why, because then I get to examine my thinking. Then I get to see, like, are my words and my actions and the way people are receiving me, are they in alignment? Back in the day, hell no, it wasn't, because I'm saying all this stuff. Now it's like, you know what? I do work a lot and I obsess about the stuff that I do. And you know why? For me, right? Like not for my mom, not for the family. I'm doing it for me. Yes,
Mhm.
that my family, my immediate circle gets some peripheral benefit from it, but I'm doing it for me.
Mhm.
Why do I volunteer, coach, do the things that I do? Yes, it's in service to others, and I'm doing it for me because it helps me experience fulfillment and it helps me stay sober, right? There's no question in my head, but it took me hours upon hours upon hours to get clear about what that was.
Mhm.
And so, yes, family, yes, job, yes, career, all these things. In terms of getting connected or what's in our way, in terms of like for launching or living our vision or understanding and getting clear about what our vision for the universe is, the number one thing that I'm going to challenge and recommend to people is figure out how to double the time you spend with yourself. What do you think about that? Look, I see some thumbs up. What do you think, Jen?
No, I get, yes, that part. But I think the what hit me, and it's part carryover from our conversation yesterday, is to be able to spend time with myself doesn't always just mean like right now time with me is going walking, like getting out of the environment that I'm in and going and just kind of big getting away and spending time walking and letting my like thoughts be there. And you were clear, you said, I don't mean you need to go walk more. You were very clear on spending time with yourself also means like, are you allowing your thoughts to go in certain directions? Are you leaning into certain things that you're not allowing time for, to be able to go, what could this be? And having, and even sometimes having time for yourself could be also like, what intentional conversations are you having with people? What spaces are you putting yourself in to be able to let something grow or let something kind of find what are those connections and things like that. Like that is also time for yourself, but we don't look at it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes. And thank you for reiterating that, right? Like time for yourself. Like I'm a monk or a hermit. Like I'll be in my room in the dark with my blacked out freaking curtains because that's the space.
Mhm.
Now I designed that. I put a lot of energy into making that happen.
Mhm.
But that's not just it. Like right now, I'm really focused on understanding and trying to get better at marketing.
Mhm.
So all the YouTube crap I listen to is on marketing. The podcasts that I go listen to are on marketing. A lot of the conversations I have are around marketing. The people that I reach out to have experience with marketing. And
Mhm.
so this is what I'm talking about, like spending time with myself. I got clear. This is the focus. How do I expand that and build that? Create those conditions so that it can expand
Mhm.
instead of saying, well, my job, right? And Heather nails it. It requires a mind shift to challenge business current norms that say you have to put all your time and energy into your work and job. That takes courage because there's a little bit of risk, right? Like if I'm not putting 100%, I'm a slacker now, I'm a member of the new generation, I'm not committed, I'm quiet quitting, all this bullshit. Do your job. That's what you're getting paid to do.
Mhm.
And leave a little bit for yourself.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't be excellent. Go kick ass. Go do the damn thing and leave a little bit for yourself.
Mhm.
Put that somewhere. Steve Martin says, again, man, we have very, very high tone people that understand and appreciate deep thinking. Steve says, Jesse, you have to be prepared to make the difficult decision. Not taking little steps toward bringing your vision to life is the status quo mindset
Mhm.
with the power to bring your vision to death. Take the step. Oh, he's already saying it. This is an
You
after
already-
discussion. Um, and so it's we got 15 minutes till we wrap it up here, and then we're gonna be doing the thing. Miss Elizabeth, thumbs up, right? The idea of spending more time. Well, you know what? I got to give her props because she took time and invested in herself, right? Like she spent. I will count being carving out the time to build a skill set
Mhm.
is spending time with yourself. It's
Mhm.
valuing yourself. She came and hung out with us on the
Yep.
cultivation crew.
Yep.
So that counts as spent. Like again, I just want to be clear. It doesn't mean locking yourself up
Right.
and turning off the electricity, and that
Yeah.
would be awesome. It doesn't have to be that. It really is an investment in yourself beyond what you are indebted or maybe feel committed to doing. And so it's the top of the hour, folks. You got 5 minutes to make sure you get your name in the randomizer raffle. Drop the word feedback in the comments to get your name in the hopper. And here I want to pick on something here, Jen. Maria says, "Time alone is not a punishment for me. I have to actively work on not spending time alone." What do you think, Jen?
Well, one, Maria and I have lots of conversations. So she actually popped in my head earlier when we were talking because I hadn't seen her in the and now AI's in my head because now all of a sudden I think about Maria and then she pops into the comments. So let's go with the feedback. I want to go back to the piece with her on that part is easier for her. And she and I have talked about this on it's easier for her to be able to spend that time alone. And her effort is in having to go and engage and and get outside of that. And so one, Maria, thank you for like saying that. And just because that's a little scary putting that out there. But two, Maria, if you have some time, I'd love to. She and I have, and it's funny, I lean on you to give me that sometimes the stuff that I don't so much want to hear. But Maria and I've had some really, really tough conversations sometimes where I say things to her and she can make the decision on, I'm not listening to Jennifer anymore, or I needed to hear that, and that's going to help me make this next step and things like that. So again, I'd love to know, Maria, how you've received that, but it hasn't stopped us from talking because Jesse, you said that earlier. Who are those people in your life that you intentionally engage with, knowing that the conversations can sometimes not be that sugarcoating, that comfort, that they're going to stroke my ego and they're going to make me feel like I'm doing good things. We have those people, but do you intentionally surround yourself with people also that will say things like will say the things sometimes that other people won't say, or that are going to help you grow? And it's that piece. It's when someone's talking to you and they're engaging with you and you're having a conversation, when you leave the conversation, and this is, I've learned this, and what I struggle with is if I get off the phone and go, how is that going to help me? If I don't know it, like I don't see it, I will just stop talking to those people. And that's not good either, because I could be that person for them. And so that's a mindset also, is sometimes these people may not be feeling us and bringing value and doing all these things to help us, but please stop and consider, are you that person for them?
Yes. So I'll say what I heard.
Okay, tell me.
And actually, I'm going to build on Robert's comment here, right? Robert says, "I would like to feed you this. Failure is not fatal, but failure to change might be. Hashtag holler back." So he's working in feedback, right? I like that. But anyways, the point, what I got from what you said, Jen, is we've talked about this before, accomplices versus people that are going to help me grow.
Yes.
And so, hell yes, I 100% have people in my life that are going to help me, like contribute to my growth.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? They give me direct, actionable feedback, and like it takes time to like build that trust and all that stuff, right? Overcome the fear, etc. And one way to describe the type of people, like Nick says, they're full of passion, desire, and action, right?
Yes, a lot of people to take action. Don't talk to Jesse.
Yeah, like if you're gonna make a recommendation to me, you better believe I'm thinking and very close to asking, like, how did it work when you did it? And you say, "Oh, I haven't." Like, done, right? Like if we're gonna have the same, you sent me a link this morning, right? Like if you have to have the same, if you go to 3 different people to have the same conversation, you're not looking for feedback, you're not looking for help, you're looking for attention.
Yep.
Girl, I know how to get attention. I didn't
That
want to go
part.
bug somebody like one of my advisory board members for attention. I know how to do that.
Mhm.
I'm calling you and asking for feedback. I had a conversation with Kirby yesterday about the thing. And I'm like, Kirby, here's the thing I'm messing with. Of all the people that were there, you're the one that I know can give me the feedback that I need. And so I asked her the question and she gave me she shared her observations. And I'm like, perfect. Okay. Okay. I got to work on that. Da, 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 da. And so for me, it's like, again, bringing this vision to life. I can cultivate my community. I can curate the people that I surround myself with so that I can grow, so that I can be called out when I'm slacking, so that I can see new perspectives and different ways of thinking. And most important, that I think we forget, is so that I can contribute into their path as well. Like it's the reciprocal thing.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes.
not like, oh, they're blessing me with all their wisdom and I owe penance to them. No, bullshit. Like we're playing together here.
Mhm.
I'm getting a lot from you and I'm equipped and ready to contribute back to you.
Yes.
What do you think, Jen?
I agree. And can you bring Maria's comment up? Just because again, I called her out and then
Uh-huh.
she responded. Says, I enjoy all of your curious questions, which Jesse helps me with those. And I find you very brave. Thank you, Maria. Says, my favorite part about your feedback is that your format, it is in questions. Are you aware of this? And
Ooh.
so, Jesse, why don't you lean a little bit into like, why does that matter? How we give feedback and how, again, those open-ended questions.
Yeah. So I'm going to come back to that because I promised everybody, hold
Yes.
that question.
Yes.
I promised everybody that we were going to do the randomizer.
Yes.
So here we go. We got 7 entries and we're going to do the draw.
Okay.
Who's getting it? Oh,
Amy!
Miss Amy Campbell is the winner from today's randomizer raffle. So, sister, I know you're ready on the board to come hang out with us. You and I will connect so that we can bring your person of choice to experience the cultivation crew.
Yes.
Way to go, sister. Now, your question was what, Jen?
It was based on Maria's comment, like how important is it when you are giving
Yep.
or trying to
Oh
provide
yeah, asking questions.
Yeah, asking.
Yeah. So here's the thing. There are times when a statement is necessary, and we're really good at that, right? Like you should. Angel has said many times, you shouldn't should on people, right?
Yeah.
And I'll say this for me, first of all, if I'm not asking you for feedback or your observation, I'm probably not going to do anything with it because I find it off-putting or less than attractive but that's a whole separate thing. When I have a feedback thing, open-ended questions for me is about, here's my observation. How does that land with you? I've said that multiple times on today's conversation. Because for two things, I feel like it opens a critical thinking. It's not an accusation. So it helps me stay away from offending you or like overtly attacking, making you feel attacked. And it also opens your thinking like, ooh, right? Like when I shared hey, this is my observation. What I think I see is this is your priority A, B, C. What do you think? Right? Then it's like, oh shit, now I gotta think.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, this may sting a little. Then you give feedback or you ask questions. How does that land?
Yep.
Like just you saying that again, I could be like, damn, that hurt, Jesse. And like being able to say that, it then informs you, and you've done this before because I'm pretty honest on how it hits me. You're like, and let me tell you also these things. So like you also are able to gauge based on the response to that question.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the another way to think about it is like the open-ended question. I want to be ultra freaking clear here because there's some people that think active listening, ask them an open-ended questions and make them think it was their idea. Both that's weasel bullshit.
That is not what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about. I'm talking about engaging the person's critical thinking.
Mhm.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, okay, I just said something that was controversial and stung, and the framed in an open-ended question to engage the critical thinking.
Yes.
Because you could have said, "I think you're full of shit."
like screw you, Jesse.
Cool. Like I wouldn't have been upset about it. I would like, oh, so you know what your priorities are. Okay, well, why? Let's talk about that. Right.
Yes.
And so I think the open-ended questions engage people's thinking because I'm not writing the rule book here, right? Again, it's not my vision. I mean, yes, I'm tinkering with my vision, but we're trying to figure out what yours was in that conversation.
But it's also is at the right time, Jesse. So you're also very clear. Like this could have been feedback you provided to me a year ago or a year and a half ago, and it would not have landed the same. And was I prepared and ready to act on it?
Yeah.
Just that part.
So that's that. Oh my God, that's a whole separate other thing. So I'm not even going to go there. We got 4 minutes, Jen, and I need to make sure everybody has the link to the after party. So can you closing thought, please?
Yes, I will do that.
Carry the weight for a little bit.
I will do it. I'll carry it for a little bit because one, I'm going to pose a question, and two, I think this will lead into I'm guessing another conversation or live stream. But based on everything we've talked about today, the one word we haven't used that I would love to get some feedback on is asking yourself, what am I doing and how am I being brave?
Ooh.
And I'm asking y'all because, again, it feeds into some of the things we're talking about, because to be brave means taking risks. To be brave also means getting a little uncomfortable or being scared or a little fearful or not knowing what the outcome is going to be and still making decisions and choices. And another piece of Jesse's and my conversation yesterday was also in what spaces are you pushing back, or are you being raw and honest and real? And sometimes knowing that is not going to sit well with people, knowing that because of the conditions you've created, that is going to be contradictory. That is going to have people a little bit take a step back, or like, what does she mean? Or like, okay, not attacking. I'm being very clear. Like, how are you being brave and leaning in to some of those conversations or even spaces to free up some of that space for the family or for yourself? How are you being brave and leaning in to protect some of that time and that space? And I don't think we ask ourselves that question enough, because it's hard for us to go, I'm being brave. I'm doing this, because I'm strong and I'm courageous. And it's hard for us to own that, because then those are not bad words. And so what are you doing to be brave? What are you doing to to really lean into those spaces sometimes that are, again, they're those spaces that I walk into that are a little bit of like, my adrenaline's up, my heart's beating really fast. Like, that doesn't scare me. I know that this is a big thing. And that's all that does. When I go on stage, anything like that, it's a big thing because I know how my body's responding. It's never, I'm scared or it's fearful. And so how do you respond to that? Oh, the adrenaline. Oh my gosh, I'm breathing. Like, what does this look like? Do you lean into those times? So, Jesse, probably more than you needed, but go for it.
No. It actually, we're on the same page.
Okay.
And I'll just say, like Heather said, pay yourself first, or you will never find time for your priorities. Pay yourself. So, and to reinforce or echo what you just said is specifically for you, Jen, and I think people will resonate with this. You are an expert at advocating for people, at celebrating people, at shouting people out, at doing that. do that for you. And I know you don't. Right. And so I want to say that I'm putting that out there for the rest of the tribe out there to really like we sacrifice so right. Our job, our company, our boss, our coworkers, our teammates, like our freaking fantasy league, whatever. Like there's a lot of crap, a lot of important things that we commit ourselves to, or rather, I'll say it this way. There are a lot of important things that we deprioritize our vision for. There's a lot of bullshit that we deprioritize our vision for.
Yes.
And like Heather said, pay yourself first. Spend more time with yourself so that you can figure out what needs to be done to bring your vision to life, because that is a source of energy that is limitless. And I know because I'm living it. And so
I mean, bring Steve's up. Come on, it's got my name in it, so I know how you are. Thank you, Steve.
Yes, 3 sizes, hashtag Lean Grinch. And with that, we are going to close. I put the link to the after party and all the stuff. It's on the Facebook, on the YouTube, on the LinkedIn's. Looking forward to get your thoughts, your perspective, observation, feedback on today's conversation. Congratulations again to Miss Amy for winning the randomizer raffle. And we'll see y'all soon.
Yes, bye.
Peace.